Switch it.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
I guess this is how we go live from our phone instead. So we had to change things up a little bit, folks. Sorry about all that.
Technical difficulties. Let's see if we can get this
Apparently,
going. Technology is fun, isn't it?
it's okay. We'll throw one of us on at a time while we're talking. Make it easier.
All right. So, where were we when we were, I don't know, cut off, or I don't know what the right answer is, but I think let's go back to the question, shall we? All right. Anyway, thank you. Can you scroll down? Okay. So,
The Darien Gap.
yes. In any case, so we shipped our car around the Darien Gap. We met some people I think that's where I'm going to start the story. So we met some people in Merida, Mexico, at a pop-up, a meetup of other world schooling families. And they were driving the Pan American Highway like us. And we were like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if we ended up shipping our cars together? And they were like, oh, yeah, it'd be so funny. But then they passed us and they were ahead of us. They were almost done with their 6 months in Mexico. And we still had several months left. So I didn't really think it would work out. But ultimately, fast forward, it did work out. So we had a lot of luck, I think. We kind of just stayed in touch with them, and so instead of spending 2 months in Panama like we planned, we ended up only spending a month. But that's okay. Like, Panama's fun. We really enjoyed it, but I don't feel regret that we cut short our time in Panama to ship, because in reality, if we had waited any longer, we would have run into major delays and price increases with the Christmas holiday approaching. So we ended up shipping in early November instead of late November, and that was absolutely the right choice for us. So, yeah, so we ended up shipping our car from Panama City to Cartagena, Colombia. And we ended up flying to Barranquilla, Colombia instead. It's another city on the Atlantic coast. You may have heard of it because that's actually where Shakira is from. Shakira from Barranquilla. I think she says that in one of her songs. I think that's where I keep getting that. So we flew to Barranquilla while we waited for our car to make its way to a new continent. And we renewed little man's passport. That was a whole nother adventure in itself. Renewed his passport in Barranquilla. And yeah, and then we just made our way over to Cartagena to wait for our vehicle. And that took about a week, I think, in total. And that was it. So yeah, so we shipped our car from past the Darien Gap. We did not trudge through jungle. We did not drive through the jungle. It's really boring flight. It was our only flight.
Okay, now. Okay, so now, since we're trying this over again, since the last stream had kind of a failure, it looked like it didn't actually record at all. So we'll just kind of recap a little bit of what we were talking about on there, just since it didn't actually go. But now this one seems to be working just fine. So hopefully those of you can see that here. If you do, and you found us through one of the other groups and you're finding the new stream, while we're doing this, it would be great if you throw it out there to some people. Let them know that this is where the new stream is happening. But we did our drive from the U.S. all the way down to Ushuaia, the southernmost tip of South America, in just about 2 years. So this live stream is really just to kind of give a chance for people to hear how we did that, why we did that, answer some questions for those that are out there that are really curious about that. So a lot of folks posted their questions in advance, And that's great. So we've got those questions, and we're going to kind of go through them one by one here. You already heard how we got across the Darien Gap there from Brody. Now, let's look at our inspiration. So, one of the paramount questions that people asked is, what was our inspiration? Well, when we first started this, it was just after getting back to North America after Malaysia, after we ended up getting like having to leave Malaysia. We talked a lot about that on our first episode of the Our Offbeat Life podcast. So if you're curious about that, you can go back and listen to that. But we were staying with a friend, you know who you are, in the U.S. for the holidays, and she let us borrow her car to drive around since we were there for a couple of months. And we really loved it. We went to Grand Canyon, we went to Horseshoe Bend, and saw some really cool things, and said, this is kind of the thing that can happen. This could be good. So we decided that we would find a vehicle that works for us. So what we ended up doing is we found that we were looking at going towards campers and vans and converting this and doing that, but we needed the internet. Um, I work primarily online, which kind of moves towards another one of the questions. How do we support ourselves? So I work online, so I need reliable internet and can't quite get that in an RV. Starlink was around back then, but quite expensive. It's gotten a lot more affordable. We've got a lot more folks with it now, but it was out of our price range at the time. So we decided we needed to have a lifestyle where we could house sit and Airbnb and hotel and just find places that actually had internet reliable and that we knew where we were going to have that reliable internet in advance. And so that kind of brought us to finding a reliable vehicle. And Brody had always heard that Toyotas were very reliable. Now, so she did a lot of research while we were in Nevada at our friend's place, and we checked out a bunch of different cars until we found this one, which we call Blackberry. Well, my son and I do.
We do not call it that. We don't call it that. Black Beauty, yes. Blackberry, no. We do not name it after defunct electronic devices.
No food. So
sorry about that.
We're
That was
trying-
totally my bad.
trying to make sure we have this phone stand up right. So
Yes. So, in any case, go ahead.
So it was just basically that's how we've ended up with our vehicle, and then we decided to hit the road and start with Mexico since we had already been living there for a while. We had an apartment in Playa, and Nevada is on the opposite coast, basically. So we could see how we like driving across Mexico. We started with that drive, finished out our lease, and decided that we would continue on until we couldn't continue anymore.
We're still going. So, did we talk about work?
No. Let's talk about
Okay.
work.
So, one of the other questions we received is, how did you take 2 years off from work? And the quick answer is we didn't. David and I both have online businesses that we run. I have our Offbeat Life, the family travel blog, which, is mostly a website, but we also have our social media channels, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and David launched the YouTube channel here earlier this year. So, because sometimes you just can't share everything you want to share in written form. I've learned that. I've accepted that. So yeah, and then on top of that, David also has his own website, It's called the Tutor Resource. It is an online platform that offers resources and mentorship for online teachers and digital nomads, because that's what we know. Because in addition to the Tutor Resource, David is also an online teacher himself, so he can mentor people in what he is an expert in. That's the whole point. And then, oh, he's making faces at me. I have to tell you about my other venture that is part of our Offbeat life, which is our travel consulting um, arm of our blog. Okay, it's really just me. Essentially, a travel consultant is not a travel agent. I don't do bookings for people, and I am not a coach. I am not going to help you struggle through tough problems to find your own solutions. I am a consultant that will give you the answers you are looking for, the answers you need, the answers you want, to a variety of travel related topics, from becoming a digital nomad to remote work, because I do have a background in human resources, on to how to downsize your entire home, to become a world schooler or a digital nomad, because not only did I downsize our 2-bedroom apartment in Chicago before we left, but I also downsized. We had 2 Airbnbs that we were running in Chicago at the time as well, because we lived in a 3-flat building and lived in one and rented out the other 2 on Airbnb. So I have travel expertise beyond just what things to do are there in Riviera Maya, Mexico, but I can also help with those types of logistical questions too. So that is something that we can drop the link in the chat at some point if that is something that interests you. I'm happy to chat about that, but that is not what this video is about, but it is how we make our money. So that is the answer to that question. And what about car maintenance? Do you want to talk about car maintenance?
Yeah, let's chat a little bit about car maintenance, because a lot of folks in the groups were asking about how we take care of the car, what happens if it breaks down, and things like that. Well, we found that with the Toyota, first off, it doesn't break down very often. It's actually a very reliable vehicle. Um, I mean, really, the only thing we maintain is our oil. We check the fluids everywhere we go, tire pressure if we need to, but that's it. We went from we got an oil change in Mexico, we got another one in Mexico City, and then we didn't need one until Ecuador. I mean, we just kept moving and moving and moving and moving.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Which
I
one?
love you. No, that's wrong.
Oh, you Guatemala?
In Guatemala City,
Yep.
we got an oil change. We got another oil change in Panama City before we left, because we didn't want bad oil.
That's right, yeah.
And then we got another oil change in Colombia. So
all right, so they all blend together. Because for me, I don't really think about it very often, because of the fact that it's just as easy, just as simple as it is in the US. You go down, they take care of you, and the only time I've ever had a problem is when we were in Mendoza, Argentina, and they said they couldn't change it because they didn't have an oil filter. They didn't have a correct one, and we weren't very far from Chile. They told us just to go to Chile and we could be fine, but they couldn't import it. We found out later from in Chile that that was not necessarily the case, because it takes the same kind of oil filter as many very, very popular vehicles down here, like the Toyota Helix, which Brody has now fallen in love with this truck.
oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this truck. I don't even know why. I've never been a truck person ever. But the Hilux is basically a smaller but still as powerful version of the Toyota Tacoma. And the rumors are that Toyota won't sell the Hilux in the US, not because it can't pass inspection, but because it would easily outsell the Tacoma, and it's a smaller version at a lower price point, and they like the money that they make on the Tacoma. So, for those of you who are Toyota truck fans, the Hilux is amazing. I want one.
And that's just
awesome.
that's just what we've heard from people.
Oh, total rumors. I have no idea if that's true. That could be wrong. It probably is wrong, but that's what people down here think, is that the Hilux is like the be all and end all of Toyota trucks, and they don't want to destroy.
Other than that, though, for as maintenance is concerned, we haven't had any issues with the vehicle. We changed the tires when we were in Argentina as well, and had to have some. Only two, yeah, the front two tires. Well, we had them rotated a few times here and there, but the tires were too low of condition. So really, that's it. Um, and as far as I can tell, that's actually doing pretty well. I think it's a very, very reliable vehicle.
Yeah, it's been a great vehicle. It's definitely a great choice. I'm really glad that we chose it. It's even comfortable to sit in for hours on end. So I think it's a win all around. The next question was about car registration. Do you want me to handle that one?
Yes.
Okay, so the question was, how do you handle your car's registration? And the quick answer is I just pay it online, and it's been stayed renewed because our car is 20 years old. It's a 2003. So the registration for us is really cheap. It's like $80 a year, I think, or $100 a year. Like, it's really cheap. So our car is registered in Nevada. I just pay the registration, and then I got this, I got the original documents when we originally registered it, and my friend that let us use her address, thank you, I really appreciate it, basically gets the paperwork and is hanging on to it until we get back for it. I'm sure I'll never need it, but so the stuff is mailed to her house, and then she just shoves it in an envelope for us for later. But we don't, nobody cares down here about your registration stickers. We just took the stickers off of our license plate, and I got a reprint of the registration document online. I paid like $5 extra for this registration document, and it doesn't have the dates on it. I don't know how, but it doesn't. So I just have those printouts, and when we get to borders and they need to see our title and our registration, we own the car. We bought it cash, flat out, when we left. So the title is in our name. We have the original title that we travel with, and then I have the registration document that I printed offline, and I have copies of all that, and I just show them the copies at the borders, and they don't really seem to care. I mean, Mexico cared. They really did. We had to show originals of everything and have 2 copies of everything in triplicate. It was a little bananas. Central America loves their photocopies. South America could care less. We have not needed any of the photocopies since we got to South America. They just want to see something. They put stuff in their computers. They're good to go. It's awesome. So yeah, I mean, some people let their registration lapse when they leave the U.S. and then they re-up it when they get back. I couldn't figure out what Nevada's policy was on that sort of thing, and I didn't want to have trouble when we do take the car back to the U.S. someday. So I've been paying it, but again, our registration is really cheap. So, I mean, if we were driving a 2022 Mercedes Sprinter conversion that was worth $500,000 and our registration was $500, I'd probably be a little bit more more cavalier about it, but it's just something easy for us to keep up. Okay, so that is registration. I renew it for peace of mind, not because I probably have to. The next question is, what route did we take? Do you want me to take that, or do you want to take that?
Yeah, we took the Pan American Highway most of the way. We've gone off of it for some of the cool sites, but for the most part, we stayed on the Pan American Highway. There's also been a few hiccups that got in the way, and we'll get into that. And we will share on some of the social media platforms a video for those of you who are interested that Brody made showing the whole route.
Oh yeah, we'll get to those. Don't you worry. But one thing I will say is the Pan American Highway is a lot more a destination opportunity experience than it is driving on the highway itself. Most of the really good stuff is not on the official Pan American Highway. So, I mean, if we had just driven the highway, we could have been done in what, 3 months? But it's a lot more fun to explore everything around us. And that's what we've been doing. So, yeah. I think I just want to throw this in here. Google Maps is awful. South of like the US and Mexico, there's so many times that it's told us turn left, turn right, and it's been a field or a canyon or a river or nothing. A house. So, and we then had to drive around it. So we figured out that Google is wrong a fair amount of the time when we say look up a restaurant to go eat at. That restaurant may or may not exist. That started in Mexico, where we would have restaurants that haven't existed in like a long time. Like it said there was a pizza restaurant and it turned out to be like a housing complex that was built like 4 years before. So the further south we've gone, the more often that's happened. Or places that we see like really good restaurants that we've really loved don't even exist on Google Maps. No one knows about them. They just don't. So, it's just one of those weird things that you can't count on Google to get you where you want to go more than about maybe 60% of the time. So, anything you want to add?
No, don't want to add to that. I mean, Google, we still is our go-to because everybody sends you the pins. Everywhere you go. Even the people who've told us Waze is what we use here, which is occasionally, the places they always send pins are in Google Maps. So you still end up using Google Maps quite a bit. There's also some offline maps that we've used occasionally here and there, which will tell you if it's a dirt road that you're going to be finding or what it is that you can plan for. So,
yeah. So, but we find most often we always download offline maps before we drive because more often than not, especially in the southern part of South America, once you leave a city, you're not going to have cell phone reception again until you get to the next town or the next city, and sometimes not even in the towns. So it's just one of those things. Like there's not a lot of people living between the towns and cities, especially in Argentina and Chile. We can go hours without seeing another car or another human. Lots of wildlife, but not a lot of people sometimes. So, it's just one of those things. Google offline maps has been a lifesaver for us. So that's maps. I'm going to move on to the next question.
Yeah, the next question really is where
did you stay?
Yes.
Where did you stay? Do you want me to take that one?
Where did you stay?
Okay.
So we stayed at a variety of places. I mentioned this briefly earlier. We've done Airbnb, hotels, but our biggest thing is house sitting. We love house sitting. It's a great chance for us to enjoy places that we might not have seen before. The people's houses that we stay at always have amazing pets, which then gives us our animal time. So since we can't have a pet ourselves as easily while traveling, some people do. It just makes it easier so that our son, we can get snuggle time in with a variety of different animals. We've house sat for everything from dogs and cats to chickens and horses. So I love house sitting. I think about Central America, about 50-60% of our time there was house sitting. South America, it's been, 20%?
We spent about almost 7 months in Central America and Mexico house sitting, and then we spent about 4 months this year house sitting. So it's been less. If we were more flexible about where we were willing to go, like if we weren't on a specific route, then we probably could have gotten more house sits. But 4 months of house sitting is actually pretty good considering how stringent we were with when and where we needed to be places. So because we really needed to be in San Carlos de Bariloche, Argentina, before the end of ski season. So that we kind of had to hurry a little bit more than I think other people would have, but it was totally worth it. Yeah. So.
And don't worry, if you're watching this in the replay or anything, put in the comments any questions you have about any of this type of thing. We will be.
Or send us an email.
Yes, or send us an email. We will be monitoring the comments so that we can answer your questions as well. So, but then we also have done Airbnbs and hotels, and Brody has gotten very good at communicating and getting speed tests from these Airbnb hosts and stuff like that to make sure that it meets what we need for work.
Yep. And it's worked out. I mean, if you are wondering, can I live and work remotely in South America as a digital nomad? The answer is absolutely yes. We have not been to a single country where we have not been able to work. And actually, even the problems with this live stream earlier were not internet related. They were a YouTube glitch. So the internet down here is fine. And we booked this place like literally the day before we got here. We had very few options, and all of the options we had to choose from still had fine internet. So it's been fine. Next question.
All right. So the next question, it really comes back down to how much did it cost?
How much did it cost?
Our lifestyle is real. Okay. So to be completely transparent, we live a lifestyle just like we would if we were in the US. We work, we play. We work, we play. So I work part-time hours, you would say, for my teaching job. And then I have my other stuff on top of that. So it comes out to being a full-time type job and work hours. It's just I'm more flexible about when I go and do things and when I'm actually on the computer working. Same thing for Brody. So our costs come about $3,000 a month, 2,500 to $3,000 a month, all in all. That's gas, lodging, food, everything. Type of thing. What else do you want to add to that?
Well, there's a couple exceptions to that. One, that does not include what we spent on shipping our car from Panama to Colombia. That was a separate expense that we did budget ahead for. That was about $1,800, I think. I have to go back and look at it.
1,800.
I think so. And then also the month that we spent in Cusco, Peru was more expensive because we went to Machu Picchu. And even though we planned our entire trip ourselves, we did not use a tour company. We did hire a guide to meet us on site. But that whole day excursion was for the three of us, including trains and entry fees and that stuff, was a little over $500. So that kind of blew our budget in Cusco. But we knew that, and it was something that we were willing to do. So those are probably the two major costs. And then skiing in San Carlos de Bariloche, that was another month that was a little more expensive. But again, those are things that we plan for and things that we budget for. So it all pretty much works out. And I don't know, if I had to budget all of those in, it would probably still only take us up to like $3,500 or $4,000 a month to average it out with all of the shipping. But like, that's a one-off cost. Like, you're not going to be shipping your car every couple of months. That's just once in 2 years we've done that. So there's that. Next question. Did we have insurance? Do you want me to talk about that one, or do you want to talk about that one?
Well, that's a huge question.
Okay, that's a me question. So I'll keep talking. Did we have insurance, and also did you need to use it? So we do not. U.S. insurance doesn't work outside the U.S. So we buy mandatory third-party liability insurance whenever we are required to do so. In Mexico, we were required to, throughout let's see, the rest of Central America, we only had to do that again in Costa Rica and Panama. So those were the other two there. And then Colombia, we needed it. Ecuador, we didn't. Peru, we did. And then Argentina and Chile, we have needed it. So we buy it when we need to. When we knew we were entering Chile, there's actually a joint multinational insurance plan you can buy called Mercosur. So it covers us in Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay. I think that might be it. So we basically bought like a 9-month plan so that that would take us through sometime in March. And then we can just renew it from there if and when we decide that, we want to keep exploring more in South America. So we have never needed to use the insurance. I don't really think we'll ever need to, unless somebody crashes into us. Because third-party liability insurance doesn't really cover much. It's not comprehensive coverage. There is no such thing as comprehensive coverage anywhere in Mexico, Central America, or South America. It just doesn't exist for foreigners. So there's not really a point in buying extra insurance because it's not really a thing. So safety issues. Do you want to talk about safety issues? The question was, did you have any safety issues, bribes, etc., anything like that? So do you want to talk about that?
Well, as far as safety is concerned, you're always aware about. I'm going to preface everything I say with, we come from Chicago. We lived there for 16 years. So, and we lived in downtown, we lived in Humboldt Park, we lived in Ukrainian Village, and we lived all over the city. So we were very comfortable with city life. So when we go someplace, we are fairly comfortable, we're fairly aware of our surroundings. And I have not really felt uncomfortable most places. There was an annoyance in Nicaragua where we kept getting pulled over, mainly on this one stretch of road, 4 or 5 different times, and we just felt like we had enough. And it was just trying to get a bribe for the most part. We didn't end up paying anything. We don't believe in doing that, so we just stall until they give up and they let you go. You can talk about that too. Yeah,
Okay, so there's 2 schools of thought with overlanders about paying bribes. One group says just pay them because it's easier and faster. That is a minority, and quite frankly, it's wrong. The people who say that are wrong. Don't do that. You don't have to pay bribes. All you have to do is you have to sit there and play the waiting game. Yes, it takes longer. We have never sat longer than 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, would you say?
I would say that.
Waiting. And basically, you can, if you don't know Spanish, fine. If you do know Spanish, pretend you don't. Speak to them entirely in English. They will get frustrated with you. Occasionally, once we had somebody who got fancy and pulled out his phone to Google Translate with us. But you have to know your rights. Your rights are, you do not have to pay the ticket on the spot. That is a mordida. That is a bribe. It is not legal. You should not do it. Do not. That's what we were told, and that's what we go with. So if somebody wants to tell us, either they know English or they pull out their Google Translate, that we can pay the ticket on the spot, we say no. We only take the paper ticket. We will go to the police station and pay the ticket. That's the best way to get around it. So, it's worked for us every single time. You just wait for them to give you the paper ticket, and then they aren't going to give you a paper ticket because 9.5 times out of 10, you didn't actually do anything wrong. And then they let you go. That's worked for us in Nicaragua, the 4 or 5 times we got pulled over in like an hour and a half. It worked for us the one time in Mexico that we got pulled over. And it worked for us the one time in Peru that we got pulled over. Um, it's not really been an issue. We haven't had it happen a ton. We've gotten pulled over a lot more than that for by like military for traffic stops. Like we got every time we went through a toll in Mexico, we had to stop and talk to the military and show them our car papers. Not a big deal. You show them the papers, they look at them, they see they're not expired, you're on your way. But if they're expired, you're in trouble. Your car is going to be impounded and you will never get it back. So that's that.
And the only other thing to say that I have to say about that is we have also gotten used to seeing big guns. Because not only the military and the police, well, mainly just the military and the police, they carry their guns very big, very plain to see. In the U.S., it's a lot different. Not to be political or anything, but the hidden carry scares me more than what I see traveling around Central and South America. It's not as been as big here in South America as it was in Central America, where there are guards in Guatemala City all over protecting and keeping everybody safe. So I didn't feel unsafe there at all because those guards were there really helping and things like that. So, do you have anything that? How did you feel about all that?
No, I actually didn't like, you'd walk into a bank to go to the ATM and there would be guards with big guns. In South America, there's guards and they may or may not have big guns, they may have smaller guns, they may have no guns, but there's definitely like there's still guards, but that's no different than the US. There's guards at the bank. Like it didn't feel any different. No, I honestly, I don't think I've ever felt more unsafe anywhere on our Latin American road trip. Um, I don't know. I just maybe it's a perception of safety, but if you even look at the statistics, most U.S. cities are less safe statistically than any country anywhere in Latin America. So between the statistics and my personal experience, I would have no problem going anywhere again,
Yeah,
anywhere on our trip.
agreed.
So, okay.
Moving on to something more fun.
Yes.
We had a lot of questions from people asking about our favorite stops, our top fives, and all that kind of things.
This is going to be really hard. Yeah. So do you want to go first?
Let me.
All right. We're going to let him go first.
Again, my favorites really come back to like Grutas Tolantongo, Mexico, which are amazing hot springs. Again, I showed some pictures and shared some stuff about that in our first podcast episode. Another place I really, really loved was Manuel Antonio areas in Costa Rica. That's when I saw my first sloth and did some really cool hikes. Then Huacachina in Peru, where I got to do sandboarding. Those are my top. And then lately, I want to let Brody go, but I have to say, and she's probably going to agree with me on the last one, which is this really cool glacier that we saw. But let's see what she says.
Totally agree about the glacier. But I really enjoyed Guatemala. Going to Habatenango and the whole area in and around Antigua, Guatemala was just amazing. I would love to go back and spend a month and just keep exploring and relaxing. I did enjoy Manuel Antonio in Costa Rica, but I really loved Monteverde because I'm a sucker for cloud forest because it's a shrinking habitat around the world. Like less than 12% of the entire globe right now is cloud forest, and they are a vanishing ecosystem. And I love them. And I love Monteverde. I was there in college with one of my favorite professors and some really good friends. And it's always been a special place for me. Um, Colombia was amazing. Medellin was lovely. I got to go to the Las Lajas Cathedral, which is a like French Gothic style cathedral that looks straight out of Beauty and the Beast. On the side of this monstrous canyon with a flowing river, and it's covered in green and it's gorgeous. It's been on my bucket list for at least a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. Like it's been a long time I've wanted to see it. So that was really exciting. Seeing the Nazca lines is my bucket list. Machu Picchu. Oh my God. Machu Picchu was magical. Like there's just something about that place. I know it's touristy. I know it's expensive, but for me, it was worth every penny. Um, I don't know. I mean, we both, I think, really enjoyed sky watching in San Pedro de Atacama. The desert, like
The driest
it
place in
is
the world.
like literally it's a desert where like parts of it have never received a drop of rain ever. Like you literally like you get there and your skin just shrivels up and you need moisturizer like 4 times a day. But it's amazing. And the sky, it is the darkest, blackest sky I think I've ever seen. I've never ever had star watching be that amazing. It is one of the best dark sky gazing places in the world, like renowned for this and for good reason. It was amazing. Um I don't know, I could keep talking about all the places that are amazing.
There's
Like
so many, and like if you get a chance to drive, definitely drive the Carretera Austral. Um, we did it, and it took us what 4 days, 5 days. But we took our time. We could have gone even slower and seen even more, but it
I could have
was
spent 2 weeks doing it, honestly.
yeah, it was just some of the best, most beautiful sights. I kept pulling us over. I'm already a sucker for any pull off. I have been since growing up traveling. I mean, that's what we did. We stopped off at all these stop offs, miradors, everywhere. So I love that type of thing. And if you love that type of thing, you would like the Carretera Austral.
Okay. So, changing gears from happy thoughts back to not so great things. Another question we got was, what were your biggest letdowns? Um, and there were not a lot. There's a couple things. I mean, we really had to like dig into this one. So I'm glad someone sent us this one in advance because it was tough. But the first one we came up with was living in Playa del Carmen. I guess we could be together. There we go. Living in Playa del Carmen was not great,
All right.
but not because Playa del Carmen isn't great. Because before we became digital nomads, we were vacationing there like once a year, once every other year. Like we had been multiple times. That's part of the reason that when we came back to the Americas from Asia in 2021, we set up a temporary home base there um, because we knew it and we were comfortable with it. But living there is different, and you never get away from tourism, like ever. It
We
is an amazing place to vacation, and everyone knows this.
We even lived not in the downtown touristy areas to,
Yeah.
get away from a little bit of that. Great food, love it, love it, love it.
Oh
Miss
yeah.
it, miss it, miss it.
I do miss some restaurants there. Yeah.
But yeah, you can't get away from the tourism. Staying year round, you see the different weather patterns, and it's really bad summers.
Really hot. I mean, we lived through a hurricane, not something I want to repeat. Like, and then there's the seaweed season. Like, there's many things to love about Playa del Carmen. That's why I have a whole blog section dedicated to how amazing it is. But like, living there is different, and I will continue to vacation there. I won't live there again. Just personal preference. The other one would probably be Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Mostly because the police stops were so frequent and we just felt like walking banks. Like
In our
everyone wanted
twenties,
something from us.
in our twenties, it was a different story. It was at our 30s.
Late 20s, I
Yeah.
think that's right.
And that was a different story. We
Yeah.
had a blast, and we weren't driving it then.
No.
But driving it, not my thing.
But it also could be because post-pandemic, the unemployment rate in the entire country of Nicaragua exceeds 70%. They have struggled so much during and since the pandemic started, and it's heartbreaking. And so it just like we woke up at sunrise to watch in Granada one day to watch the sunrise, and this guy was jogging and he was like, "You guys need to be careful. You shouldn't be here watching the sunrise. It's not safe for you." And I was like, "Oh my God." It's just like everywhere we went, it's in your face, and it was sad and it was devastating, and we left early.
Yeah.
So I'm sad that we had to, but it was not a good place for us to be. It didn't feel safe. Like we were constantly told by like local Nicaraguans, you shouldn't be here. Like this is not a safe space for you as tourists and tourist destinations. That's not something you want to hear. So we didn't stay. I know there's other people who love Nicaragua. We loved it too once, but we didn't love it this last time. So
And finally, I would say Bocas de Toro was
yeah,
a beautiful
it was gorgeous.
location, but just a little bit of a letdown for us.
I didn't like it at all. Um, it was super expensive. It was super overpriced for what it was, and it was really hard to get around. And we had several times where we had water taxi drivers yelling really racist things at each other. Like, so there's just different groups. Like, there's the local like Panamanian historical like ethnic groups, and then there's the like islander, like the Caribbean islander ethnic groups that have come in, and they're like, to me it's a beautiful merger of it, but they have serious problems with it. And we had one guy that like they were just screaming horrible things at him, and they didn't think we knew Spanish, but we knew enough Spanish to know what they were saying, and it was horrible. Like I was so uncomfortable, but I was also so sad for him that that's his life, and that they would think that it's acceptable to be so blatantly horrible to each other. It made me sad and it made me uncomfortable. I don't think that I would go back. Um, Again, I know people who've loved it, and we just didn't love it, or I didn't love it. Maybe you thought it was better than that, but I wouldn't go back.
But as a South America, it's nothing has been a
Nothing,
letdown.
nothing has let me down in South America so far. No.
We sometimes complain internally about the driving in Lima, but even that, uh,
But that wasn't a
we
letdown.
knew that going in
We
that
knew
there.
going in it was going to be bad. Um, Lima is one of the worst cities in the world to drive in. It is what it is. But it wasn't a letdown. I loved Lima for so many other reasons. We met some amazing people. We ate some amazing food. There's amazing museums. It's super kid friendly. There's some great experiences for families. We just absolutely loved it. So that's letdowns. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Letdowns make me sad.
yeah.
Oh, wait, great. The
Moving
next
down,
song. We did not balance these
moving
conversations
from
very well.
letdowns into what obstacles?
What obstacles did you encounter? Landslides. That was really it. Landslides. Big ones. Big landslides. Do you want me to talk about landslides? Or do you want to talk about landslides?
Well, I mean, we did again. I will reference back to that first episode of the podcast for more detail on it. But we encountered a giant landslide that made us detour our route
By several days.
by several days. Um, there was always the in the feeling that whenever we were driving that there could be a landslide, because we would drive, turn around a corner, and there was a previous rock slide, or the ground was covered in clay and dirt because they had just cleared one and it hadn't rained since to wash away the remnants, or whatever we
Or
would
little
see.
rocks would tumble down as we drive past. Like it's just it's a constant anytime
That's a
it's
South
somewhere near you.
American thing down here.
It's it's an Andes Mountains thing for sure. Yeah. Um but yeah, like the only other thing would be when we were driving through one specific state in northern Argentina, there were roadblocks, and we ended up sitting at a roadblock for like 2 hours until they opened it. But I never felt unsafe. Like the people were really clear that it was a non-violent political protest, and they were really open and strategic about how they were implementing it. And so I completely respect what they said and what they were doing and the purpose behind it. And it was solely an inconvenience for us.
And
It
we had great,
was
and we had great conversations with those parked
wonderful.
around us
Yes.
while we waited.
We
so.
made new friends. It was fun. Um, it was fun. That was probably not something that I should have said like that. But yeah, we made the best of a situation, and it went better than it could have. And yeah, that's probably about it.
And then we skipped Bolivia
We did.
because tourists they're not able to get gas, or if they are, it's really expensive in the cities, and it's difficult to get to the ones in this out of the cities as well. We've even had friends that are driving through there right now, and they've been complaining about it.
Turned away at the pump because they are foreigners and they are not able to sell gas to them, not willing to sell gas to them. We haven't really figured it out, but it's a known issue and we just didn't want to deal with it. So someday we will go back and we will explore Bolivia by bus, not driving it ourselves. That is our plan. So, what about, I mean, I guess we've kind of already talked about that, like the scariest, most dangerous situation we've encountered. We haven't really had any, except for that one car thing.
The one time when we were in Ecuador after some rains, and the road collapsed underneath our front right wheel.
Yep.
And yeah, we were sitting there at a 45-degree angle or more.
You can watch the highlights reel on our Instagram. Coincidentally, it's one of our highest ever watched reels because,
People like watching distress.
people like watching distress. Everything was fine. Our car was not damaged. David took it to a mechanic guy who like fabricated a part, and it was amazing. So it turned out really well. We had some overlanding friends who came to rescue us. I would like to do a special call out to our friends at Meet Around the World, Richie and Abigail. You guys are saints. They literally stopped what they were doing, drove half an hour, came and towed us out and rescued us. So they are literally our saviors. Our car will probably still be in that ditch that was created when the road collapsed.
I literally thought while I was sitting in the car for an hour
at 45 degrees.
She climbed out, the kids climbed out.
Oh yeah, we had little man's friend with us. We were going to see an animal. We were going to an animal rescue to learn about condors. Coincidentally, we never made it to the rescue because the kids wanted to give up, and we took them for ice cream instead because ice cream makes everything better.
So yeah, that was the only time I thought this journey was over, because I'm sitting there not knowing if this is going to come out or if I'm going to flip the car before our friend gets there after she finally got him on the phone, and thinking of ways how can we use our slack lines that we have a hold of to try to solve this situation, and just thinking that if the car rolls and it's totaled for some reason, that we don't have the money to fix a car, buy a new car, and continue the journey right then and there. So we would have repositioned. But again, that didn't happen. It wasn't time for the journey to be over. And we had amazing friends that came to the rescue.
We did. So it was a bad day that ended well. And we were really lucky. So hooray for that. So,
so that was the only scary moment.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I was nervous on the Trampolín de la Muerte, the springboard of death, the death road in Colombia that we had to drive because of the landslide, but it ended up not being a big deal and actually was an absolutely beautiful accidental experience that I don't want to repeat, but I'm glad that it happened and I'm glad that it's over.
That one was more of a build-up in our heads.
Oh, yeah.
Because of all the conversations in some of the groups.
Yeah.
The government stepped up, making it one way every day, which made it passable. So.
Yeah. So I was super nervous about it, like anxiety nervous, and then it was fine. So, but again, it was not a dangerous experience. It was just something I was nervous about. So the last question that was submitted in advance by a friend of ours was, what's next? are you selling your car in Argentina or are you driving it all the way back? So we're definitely not driving back.
Oh.
Sorry, we're not. I don't want to drive through Nicaragua again right now. And there's, I just like we've done it. We're good.
Yeah.
So we still have more to explore. We're gonna be here in South America for at least sometime in spring of 2024. Then we're not sure. We have some plans. Some people are in on those plans, some people are not. I'm sorry, but we're not ready to go public with all of our plans yet.
Stay tuned.
So stay tuned. At some point, we do want to go back to Mexico and explore some more. We want to go to Asia and explore some more, but the details are still to be determined. The best place to find out what we're up to is on our email list. You can subscribe at ouroffbeatlife.com because our email list people always get the scoop on what is going on in our lives before the rest of y'all. But we do make announcements here and on social media. So, we'll keep you guys posted. We're just not ready to be official about everything yet because we're still working out some details. But we are not done traveling. We are not going back to the US to settle down and get day jobs and do all of those things again. We're going to keep adventuring, and I'm not sure where and when we'll stop traveling. I'm sure someday we'll probably pause again. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, kind of a bonus question. I've been asked before by people, would I consider settling down somewhere? There's been a few places that I've seen that I wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I really want the nice, cool, comfortable weather, not too hot, not too cold, not too buggy. I love the bugs. But so Ecuador was great for me in that regard. So at least where we stayed in Cotacachi, it's an amazing little town.
If you guys have not been in northern Ecuador, it's amazing.
It was it was the first time we'd actually heard English for a lot of time for in a long time, which is just a bonus, I mean, we've gotten used to trying to practice and pick up the language as we go, being 2 years in Spanish-speaking countries. But it was very nice to hear your native tongue quite a bit, as well as seeing all the locals. It was a lot of good culture there. It's a short drive to some really cool activities. So it was just a really good place. So far, in my opinion, plus all the roses for dirt cheap.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look back on our Instagram for pictures of me holding dozens and dozens of amazing roses that were $1 a piece. It was amazing. Our house would smell like roses every day if we lived there.
So that would be for me. If I decided to settle down right now for whatever reason, I would probably choose that.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mexico's still high on my list because tacos and guacamole. Little man would live on guacamole if we let him. Still, that's still one of his favorites. Although I heard him tell his teacher in his online school today that his favorite thing about Argentina is the ice cream because the ice cream is amazing here. It's like Italian gelato, amazing all the time, but it's $1.25 for giant scoops of it. It's amazing. So
she prodded him.
Oh, we just had someone say hello. Hello. Welcome. We are wrapping up, but if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. I think Mexico and Ecuador are definitely our top contenders if we did settle down in the Americas, but I'm just not ready to do that yet. I'm just not there. I just want to keep adventuring and seeing more. And I can say that right after we leave, so we're in Ushuaia now for 1 more week, and then we are driving to Buenos Aires. Oh, hello.
Oh, this is really cool. Yeah.
This is awesome. Okay, so you saw our car in Ushuaia driving around. That's amazing. I'm so glad you found us here. Thank you. We're so happy that people are noticing our obnoxious stickers on the back of our car.
My idea. I just wanted to put the flags on the back of the car, and then the name came also, and so right after we put the name on there, somebody saw us driving and posted a picture of our car from behind, and just made
In
our day.
Colombia, when we got off the container ship, yes, that was amazing. That was
Wow.
really fun. So I love it when people find us. Oh, you're from here. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
We've
No.
been having a great time here in
Oh my
Tierra del Fuego.
gosh.
We
So
were
much
at
fun.
the big park,
Tierra del Fuego National Park.
the
Yeah,
big
we
park
went yesterday for the day with
and
some
we were
friends.
a whole day there on some of those hikes with our kids and our friends and their kids. And
Yep.
yes, this area is beautiful.
If you have never been to Ushuaia, you need to put it on your list. It is amazing. Just going to the mall and sitting at the food court, you get this gorgeous panoramic view of the Beagle Channel and the birds and the water and the snow-capped mountains. And it is just unbelievable. You're driving through town and there's snow-capped mountains everywhere. And I would actually love to come back to Ushuaia and go skiing. There's a chairlift over the road, you guys. Like, it is amazing. Like, I just think it's so beautiful here. And even the drive in is fabulous. Oh, you don't live in Ushuaia. Okay.
I would love to
explore
more here.
Uh-huh.
I would love to go back to the park with a birder. There are so many birds.
Yes.
And
a
of different
professional
types.
birding tour in Tierra del Fuego National Park.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
I hope to get some videos posted that I saw. We saw birds chasing each other. There's this love geese that are always together. A hawk with the winds yesterday just flew up into our faces and hovered in front of us.
Like right in our faces. It was so cool. It was so cool.
So she says we should go to
Tolhuin. Oh, that's north of here. We drove through it on the way down. Yeah, when we drive back up to Buenos Aires, or when we drive back, we haven't been there yet. When we drive back north and go to Buenos Aires, we should try and make a plan to stop there and go see it.
Okay.
We should do that. Okay, I'm gonna put that on the list. Our drive up. Technically, I think we could make the drive in 5 days, but it's probably gonna take us like 10 because we stop everywhere and like do all the things.
There are some really cool things that we're gonna see while we're out there.
Well, you guys will see the videos eventually. There's some cool stuff. Let's just say at some point you will see more wild penguins than the ones you saw that I showed you in Chile and Peru.
Yes.
I love all the penguin things.
Little man still has not gotten to do his go-to goal, which is eating those Hostess cupcakes that they call pinguinos down here with a penguin.
Yes. The forest in Tolhuin, it's the best. Ooh.
Okay.
I haven't heard about that. Okay, I'm going to go look it up. We're definitely going to have to add that.
That's not the petrified forest that you heard about, is it?
No, that's near Puerto Deseado. Did I say? I probably said that wrong. No, that's different.
Okay.
This is like an actual forest.
Ooh, cool.
So we'll have to look up going there to visit and check it out. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm really excited about that. We love doing all of the outdoor and the hiking things, as long as they're not too steep or difficult, because hiking with kids is always something that's a little bit more difficult at times. So no, thank you. That's a really good suggestion. We are definitely gonna have to look it up. Oh, look at you being all official with your thank yous. That's good. So yeah, no, we're definitely gonna have to look that one up for sure. I love that. Don't go to Rio Grande. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Is it not safe, or is it just there's nothing beautiful there? We'll have to keep that in mind. It's boring. Okay, don't avoid the boring.
That's not the town that we drove through that we couldn't get gas in, is it?
No, that's different. I think we got gas in Rio Grande though, at the YPF. I think we went because it's a brand new one. It's not even on Google Maps yet. Another way that Google Maps is not accurate. The gas station we went to is not the gas station that was on Google Maps. I think that's where we got gas. It was a nice gas station. The bathrooms were really clean. I appreciate that as a girl. You know, it's important to me to have clean bathrooms. Doesn't always happen. So it's not new. Okay, well, it was just really well kept then because it definitely was a nice one. Is there anything else that you would like to add or?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Since you're here, do you have any questions about this 2-year journey from the U.S. down to Ushuaia?
Yeah, we are happy to answer them. My fingers. Um,
But yeah, I mean, this has been great. And I mean, if you're anything out there, definitely let us know. Again, folks that are listening, if you have other questions, shoot us an email or message on Facebook, Instagram, whatever your preferred is.
Our email is hello@ouroffbeatlife.com. So you can reach out to us there. Was it a good experience?
I love your question. That's good.
It's been an amazing experience. I will say, like, not every minute of every day has been, perfection, but overall, our drive has been fabulous. We've met some amazing people. We've seen beautiful scenery that just is incomparable to anything I've seen anywhere. Like not just the US, but Asia, Europe. I mean, South America especially, like Argentina has been mind-blowing and just gorgeous. I think Argentina is such an underrated country in terms of the people and the food. Our son would say the ice cream. He loves the ice cream. And just the amazing things. And it's just, I feel so lucky that we have online jobs that will let us work anywhere there's internet and that give us the flexibility to take a break for a few days when we want to go see glaciers and 10,000 plus year old cave paintings made by prehistorical humans. It's been fabulous. So we've been traveling. Good question. How long have you been traveling? We've been traveling
for 4.5 years.
Yep.
But we've been now for it'll be.
Yep. So it's amazing. We left Chicago in June of 2019, and we're now, 4.5 years is a lot. But we do it slow, like we'll spend a month here, 6 weeks there. We're in Ushuaia for 2 weeks. Mostly because the Airbnbs here are really expensive. It's not really a budget-friendly place to visit, but it is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I mean, we've been traveling for 4.5 years, but we do it really slow, so that we can take advantage of, not hurrying, but also it gives us time to work. So just, since we work online, so that it gives us a way to really experience a place. So, we can get beyond just the amazing park, although we're going to have to go back another time. To really just see and do local things like go see a movie or take our son to the trampoline park if there is one. That kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been an adventure and it's been amazing, and we're really fortunate to be able to do that.
I was reminiscing the other day about how it feels like it's over, but it's not.
It's not.
Not just on our travels. I mean, South America is almost done, but it's not. Even driving up north and our plans, our tentative plans and whatnot, is still, we still got months on this journey. So.
Yeah, I totally get the feeling about wanting to do that. It's not something that everyone is able to do. I wish more people could do it. We're just lucky enough that we've been able to create online work opportunities for ourselves, and we do have some stuff on our blog about, helping people who want to branch into the digital nomad life, but it's also not for everyone. It's, there are challenges to living a transient lifestyle. So
It feels like the world is making it easier to find
That's
online
true. That's
positions.
yeah.
We've met people from all walks of life, from stockbrokers to writers who've
Yeah.
found a way to make it work. Um, and if you put your mind to it, then you can find a way to make those types of dreams happen and find a way to live the life that you want to have while still being able to make some money.
Yeah, I mean, like even one of our friends that we met in Colombia, they're Colombian. They are fluent in English and work online for a Canadian company doing customer service. So, they travel around mostly in Colombia because it's more like a remote job, so they can't really go totally nomadic, but they can definitely work remotely within Colombia, and so they've been traveling all around the country and exploring and doing a lot with that too. So it isn't necessarily something that's limited to North American individuals, but I definitely have seen more Europeans and North Americans than people from other places who have become nomadic. Um, yeah, I don't, but it is possible. You know,
Yes.
our friend in Colombia is living proof that you can do that. So, by the way, you should eat a lot of ice cream. Oh yes,
Delicioso.
we went for ice cream in Centro. Yeah, it is very cheap. It's super affordable. Our son loves. It is very cheap. Yeah, our son loves. There's this one.
Azul cielo.
Yeah, we first found it in Chile, but then they call it something else here. It was at the ice cream shop. I don't know, all the ice cream shops in Argentina are good. We found amazing ice cream in Cordoba and Mendoza and Bariloche and here in Ushuaia. Argentinians make amazing ice cream. It's so good.
I was losing a lot of weight until I made it to Argentina and Chile. I think it's coming back.
Yeah, between the steak and the
Panaderías.
yeah, crema de cielo. Yeah, it's that really, really sweet flavor. And it's usually like a bluish color.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we were in El Calafate, they named it after the glacier. It was crema de glaciar. But yeah, it's basically like, yeah, cloud cream ice
That's
cream.
his favorite. Yep.
Oh, he loves it. He would eat that every day. But his second favorite is dulce de leche granizado. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. That's his other favorite. So he won't eat them together. It has to be all of one or all of the other. But those are his two favorites. So dulce de leche. He used to say he didn't like it, and then we got to Argentina, and now he's obsessed with it. He wants it in his cake. He wants it in his ice cream. He loves it. So that's another thing that Argentina does very well is it's dulce de leche.
And for those of you watching that don't know what we're talking about with all this ice cream, they have a way of, when we got here to Argentina, they pack cups. So you have your little pint cups, and they'll pack it with 2 to 3 flavors. The best is put three different flavors into it, and they pack it tight. And then you have your 3 different flavors that you mix together, and it's not on top of each other. They're just side by side usually,
next to each other. Yeah, but it's like thick and creamy gelato like
yeah.
It is like Italian gelato, but it's just so good. Like I never want to leave Argentina just because I want to eat ice cream every day. I know it's bad. Yes, when I eat ice cream, it's funny. Yes. Oh, that's such a cute idea. You could make the Argentina flag with that. Yeah, you could use you could do that plus vanilla. That would be so perfect. That's such a good idea. I never thought about that. Next time we go.
Next
time we go. Tomorrow, the next day, something like that. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that idea. We're definitely going to have to try that. I think our son will love that idea. So, yeah, it's amazing. Sorry?
It says we've now got 2 people watching.
Oh, somebody else is watching, but they haven't checked in with us yet.
Feel free to say hello if you're watching, or just we've been talking for a while now about all the different questions that people have been asking.
Yeah.
I know we're chatting with I want to say you. I'm not sure how you like to have it pronounced.
Or Ewe.
Anyway, about living here in Ushuaia.
Tierra del Fuego.
Tierra del Fuego.
They don't live in
Yeah.
Ushuaia.
Yeah.
I read the notes. So yeah, I love ice cream, and if you love ice cream, you need to come to Argentina because it's amazing. Oh, okay. Going to get the iPad. Actually, I wonder. Okay, we've got plenty of charge on my phone.
Oh yeah. I didn't
So,
think about that.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties earlier.
Which is why it's upright on the
Which
phone.
is why it's upright. So this was not intentional. We didn't mean for it to be on our. We didn't mean for it to be on my cell phone, but for some reason YouTube did not want to let us go live on our laptops. We tried really hard and it didn't work.
And we talked to ourselves for 20 minutes.
We talked to ourselves before YouTube said, "Oh, just kidding. None of that recorded." So then we started over. So, the joys of technology. Always got to have some fun. So,
to give you an idea of what we've talked about today, for those of you joining, going back, we talked to everybody about our inspiration, our ups and downs, our favorite places, the fact that we have a Toyota 4Runner, that we made this whole journey.
20-year-old Toyota 4Runner, I will add. It is a 2003 Toyota 4Runner. So we are the third.
260,000 miles are now on it as of reaching Ushuaia.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, we definitely bought a seasoned vehicle for sure. It was, I don't know, like when we told the people, this is funny, when we told the people who were selling it what we wanted to use it for, they thought we were crazy. They were like, "I'm sorry, you want to do what with it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna drive it to the southern tip of Argentina." And they were like, "What? Are you sure?" And it was funny because the people who sold it to us, he was a police officer in Las Vegas, and it was his wife's car, and they were only selling it because, hello, you're back. They were only selling the car because he told her that the car was too old and he wanted her to get like a nicer like minivan or something. And so when we told them, we're basically like buying these people's junk cars so that we can drive it across 2 continents, and they thought we were crazy. We should send them a photo of our car at the Ushuaia sign and be like, "We made it," and they're gonna be like, "You people are crazy." I think we should do that. I think that would be really funny.
So I had all these grand plans to show on the live stream some really cool photos from our trip, where we are right now. It doesn't let me share my screen, so I will be putting another video up later showing like a compilation montage, collage of our trip.
Yes. Yes. David likes to put together collages. So yeah, we will definitely do that. So that you guys can see more. But I mean, I'll keep posting on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and wherever else we are. I need to get better at posting my YouTube shorts also. So yeah, we'll have more videos of stuff that's been going on, and all that. So.
Yep, and then again, the podcast is also brand new, where we share inspirational stories of people's lives that are doing just this. Yeah. Most of the folks that we've interviewed so far are people that we've met along the way. These are people who are currently doing it. Most of them either 50% of the year, or well, actually, most of them are actually 100% of the year traveling. Full-timers. So we've got some more great stories lined up as well coming out in the future. So,
did you go to the Glacier Perito? We did. It was amazing. We had so much fun. We actually met up with some of our friends. They're an overlanding family like us, and we celebrated one of their kids' birthdays at the glacier. We went to the glacier for their kid's birthday. So it was really fun. It was beautiful. And it was, I was shocked how much the ice falls in the water. I don't know why I thought that was, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to hear these like cracks, these thunderous crashes. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun. We went to the glacier. We went to the walkways, the palisadas.
Yeah, we started with
Is
the
that right?
walkways. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went down to the beach and we were walking and we were like, seeing like some of the floating pieces that came off the glacier and the water. And we saw the kayakers who were trying to kayak in those crazy waves. No, thank you. It was really cool.
And we saw some of the
loved
giant pieces moving. Like
Yeah.
a wave would hit one of the giant pieces and dislodge its position, and you would see it turn on
Yeah.
its side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Okay, so it is because of the global warming.
So
I wondered about that or if it was just a seasonal thing. I wasn't sure, but yeah, we've been really seeing a lot of effects of global warming down here in South America. It has been like the ski season. We went to Mendoza and we were going to go skiing in Mendoza, but by the time we got there at the beginning of August, they'd already closed the ski place for the season. They were like, no, global warming, we closed the ski resort. And I was like, what? Like winter just started. But they never really got enough snow to really like keep the ski season going in Mendoza. And it was warm. We were wearing t-shirts and it was the middle of winter. And yeah, I've seen a lot of direct effects of global warming down here in South America. It's been
some of those things have been
shocking.
very, very sad, very shocking. And I
Yeah.
had that feeling when we were watching the glacier fall, pieces falling in, but then I was like, well, doesn't it grow also? Or if it's falling this much, how is it still here? Because it was falling
Yeah.
a lot.
It was. There were some big pieces. Yeah, I think that that's something that we need to look over more with Little Man and just kind of like really reflect on that because
Yeah.
it was magical, but it was also kind of sad. One day I went to a boat in El Calafate to see, oh, there's other glaciers.
Yeah, we
We
saw
didn't
some when we
know
were
that.
hiking though. Remember we were hiking on the route down, and there were some
Yeah.
other glaciers along that walk.
Well, that was in Chile. Or do you mean,
Yeah, some of it was in Chile, and some of it was
or do you mean in Calafate? We saw another one.
in Calafate.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was all the same glacier. Maybe we did see a different one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Some are
wow.
like 20 meters tall. Yes. And we saw one of those big 20-meter tall pieces. It like
Flip.
it like flipped over. Like it was laying flat on the water and then the next thing we knew it was like sideways and then it like rotated. It was
Bonkers.
I don't even know how to explain it. It was unlike anything I've ever seen. Yeah, we definitely saw those big pieces in the water. And I wondered if they had been connected recently to the glacier or if they've been like sitting in the water for like a long time. I wasn't really sure about that. But it was a really magical. Oh, it does usually happen. Okay. I wasn't sure about that because we didn't do a guided tour, so we kind of missed out on the like fun facts from the tour guide. So we definitely have to read more about it. So it was kind of a last minute decision to go. We kind of hurried through some other stuff so we could meet up with our friends. Because when you have friends, you have to take advantage of it in this lifestyle. So, yeah, no, I really enjoyed our time in El Calafate. It was a beautiful town. And the glacier was just amazing. We missed going to El Chalten. I would love to come back and go there somewhere. Go visit Nevada and other places in the U.S. Yeah, the U.S. has some really nice places to go. Um, Nevada is interesting because other than Las Vegas,
There's not much. Well,
I'm sure all of our friends from Nevada are gonna like jump all over us
They're
for
gonna jump
saying
on me.
that, but like,
I'm from Idaho. We have so much to do. I like the north and I love the west. Boise's so amazing, in my opinion. Idaho, because we're in the middle of a giant city in this oasis. You have mountains on one side, desert on the other. So much to do. If you're an outdoors person, the west is awesome for doing all kinds of activities.
it
So
is. And like South America, the driving distances are quite large
Yes.
between cities. So
Yes.
it's definitely, yeah, the American West is similar to South America in that way. And the desert is actually beautiful. We were told by our friend who lives in Nevada that the best time to go is spring, which would be South American fall, because that's when all the desert flowers are blooming. So I would love to like figure out a way to go back. It won't be next year, but
Yeah.
someday I would like to visit the Nevada desert in the spring so that I can see all the flowers blooming. New York City and Miami. Oh, I've been those places. David and I have never been to New York City together. He went
I was 13
years
though.
ago as a teenager, and I went for work a few times. In one of my corporate jobs before we started traveling. In Miami, we went.
Yeah.
We went once for like
For
a
my
trip
work, for my
for
work
his work.
at the time.
Yeah, I would love to go back to Miami and explore it again. I feel like when we went, we never made it out of Miami Beach, and I feel like there's probably more cool things to do in Miami that we definitely missed. So I would love to go back and see that again. We're from Chicago, so we love big cities. I want to go back to Chicago and visit all of our favorite restaurants again and all of our favorite people who still live there.
I
So
still tell people if you go to Chicago, go for the food. It's amazing.
I agree. I agree. And you have to pace yourself because the food is a lot. It's a lot. It's amazing, but it's a lot. My family likes to go, ooh, yeah. Well, your family has a lot of fun places to add to the list, so that's a good thing. Yeah, but even outside of the US, Canada actually has some really great destinations. If you like hiking and glaciers and all of those things, Banff National Park, Banff National Park in Canada is supposed to be one of the like prettiest national parks in the world. It's got this beautiful like blue glacial lake and mountains, and it kind of reminds me of some of the stuff that we've seen down here. You know, like some of the stuff we've seen in Chile and Argentina. It's breathtaking. So definitely put that one on your list. Don't overlook Canada. All the continents. So you've even been to Antarctica. Wow. Wait, that's 7?
That's 7.
That's 7. I can't count. I can't count. Sorry. Ooh, yeah, okay. Your mom's on the right track. Canada is beautiful. And they have excellent maple syrup. So you have to eat maple syrup while you're in Canada. And poutine. Poutine is really good. Yeah, all 6 continents. I haven't even been to all 6 continents yet. I've never been to Africa. Have you been to Africa?
No.
No. Okay. Africa. I've been to Europe.
Does the Middle East count as Africa or?
No, it doesn't count as any continent. It just is. I don't. I made that up. I have no idea. I actually don't know. What would it count as?
I have to look that up.
I don't know.
So the last 4 years, we've been to a different continent. This year is going to be Antarctica
For Christmas.
for Christmas.
Yeah. We realized in 2020 we spent in Asia for Christmas. 2021
North America.
we were in North America for Christmas. We were in Nevada. 2022 we were in South America because we spent. Oh, there we go. We're in Colombia for Christmas. This year we're going to be in Antarctica for Christmas. And I don't know where we're going to be next year, but it has to be either Australia or Europe or Africa, because those are the 3 continents we haven't been to yet.
Yep.
So there's that. And last year, you don't need a visa. Oh, for Canada, you don't need a visa. Excellent. Yeah, Antarctica for Christmas. We're very excited. I know.
That is
We're
crazy.
crazy.
Yes.
We definitely are. We're definitely crazy. Yeah, we're looking forward to it though. So, because Little man, my son, and I are obsessed with penguins. Are you obsessed with penguins? Have we rubbed off on you yet?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. I just want to see all the penguins. I just think the penguins are just the cutest, most absolutely adorable creatures ever, except for maybe koalas. But yeah, penguins are definitely like top 2 cute animals in my life. I love them. So yeah,
So yeah, it is. It's crazy. It's cool. It's
It
awesome.
is. I'm excited.
We're loco, but
We really are, aren't we? That's okay. I don't want to be. I don't want to be normal anymore.
I've always said normal's overrated.
I always said normal's the cycle on your washing machine, and it still varies by brand. Last Christmas, I was here in Rio Grande. Are you going to be in Rio Grande this Christmas too? Because Christmas, how warm does it get here at Christmas? I don't know. Is it like t-shirt weather at Christmas? Because that's like high summer. It's like the middle of summer. So would it be, or does it never really get that warm? Is it just more like,
Cordova. Okay.
okay. Cordoba.
We were in Cordova for a little while. It's a very college town.
Well, we were right in the center. The center is definitely about college town. Aha, that's right. Warmer weather. Yeah. I think Cordoba is definitely going to be hot in the summer because we saw all those palm trees. So it's definitely got to be warmer than here. Yeah, no, not here. Is it always cold here? It feels like it's got to be always just a little bit chilly. Like it's never really
it's
warm.
comfortable here. It's always in the 40s, high 40s, low 50s.
You say that now, but in the height of winter, I don't think this is a comfortable place to be. I think this is probably quite chilly. Can't say chilly and chilly anymore because this is Argentina, but it's almost chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. I figured it was always cold. Oh, all right. Well, we need to wrap it up because in summer it's maybe like, oh, well, 25 is not too bad. No, that's what? Like, that's in the 70s. That's not terrible.
60s, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, that's not terrible. No wonder that's the high season for tourism. I can see that. But we do need to wrap up our live because poor David does have to work in the morning. He has to do his English teaching in Cordova. Oh, see, 45 is too hot for me. No, you can keep 45. 45 is much. I'm like a 30 to 35 Celsius kind of person. So it's like, yeah, that's like my perfect temperature is like 30, 35, I think. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good temperature.
Do you even know what that is in Fahrenheit?
75-ish.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. It was really, really nice to be able to chat with you. I am so glad that you looked us up after seeing our car stickers at the mall. That's where we like to go grocery shopping. So I like the grocery store at that mall. So thank you so much for joining us, and for our silent viewers, thank you so much for stopping in too. We'll have to go live again some other time, but have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming, and we'll talk to you another time. Okay?